What's going on, guys, and welcome back to 3D Arcade for week 4 of the FBL. This week we're going up against the Commissioner, Banette, Bandit, and we're going over the team builder, so let's jump in. Starting off, we got Banette's team. You guys can see it down below. Banette's team is pretty good. I am echoing through my speakers. There we go, we'll fix that. Banette's team's pretty good. His draft is kind of insane. A lot of these teams are, because this National Dex format allows for a lot of crazy teams. He's got Mega Mawile, Tapu Lele, Hawlucha, 2 pairs he loves to run, Torkoal, Venusaur, he loves to run that, and he's also got Darmanitan, Rotom Wash, Noivern, Durant, Sandaconda, Zoroark, Smeargle, Kangaskhan, Banette, Leafeon, and Cramorant. I went and watched our opponent Sly Guy's video from last week. He kind of wraps them like Pokemon wraps them, and I think that's pretty funny because there's so many of them. It's like Tapu Lele, Hawlucha, Torkoal, Darmanitan, Venusaur, Rotom Wash, Noivern, Durant. That was actually pretty good. That just worked out well. I didn't plan that at all. Shout out to water. Stay hydrated, everybody. So that's his squad of 16. He's currently 2-1, and we are 0-3. So obviously not doing well. He beat me last season in our matchup, so we're gonna see what happens here. I'm a little scared of him. He's obviously got the Sun pair with Venusaur that's crazy. Tapu Lele is just super hard to break down, and it triggers Unburden for Hawlucha, which can be pretty dangerous. But going into our team, we did make some trades. We actually made a trade of Excadrill and Tyranitar for, basically I picked up a specific Pokemon. I basically dropped Tyranitar, so I had to pick up a new Mega to do this trade. So I picked up Mega Charizard X, thinking it was Mega Charizard Y. Don't know if he'll stick around, but now we have Mega Charizard X. And then I traded Excadrill and allowed this other person to drop their Mega, and it was actually Infinite Solar, our week 2 opponent. I allowed Infinite Solar to pick up Mega Tyranitar for us to pick up Tapu Fini in the trade of Excadrill, the tier 1. So now we have Tapu Fini. That left me with 2 Fairy Water types, so what we ended up doing is we dropped Primarina for Dracozolt. So you can see we have a new Sandrush user. It's got its hidden ability. We want to use it. Sandrush Bolt Beak is pretty crazy. It's just like Dracovish Vicious Rend if you're not aware, but it's an electric type move that doubles in power if you move first. And Sandrush makes you move twice as fast. So we have Dracozolt, but we have no Sand now because T-Tar's gone. So we made one final change here, and that is that we dropped Arcanine for Gigalith. So we have Gigalith now. We have our new Sandcorp, Gigalith, and Dracozolt. So obviously now we have 3 dragons because I thought Mega Charizard X was Flying Fire, not Fire Dragon. Got it confused with Mega Charizard Y. And I'm actually interested in talking to Moth because Moth has Mega Charizard Y. He's our opponent next week. And I'm curious to see if I can talk them into switching Charizards with me, but we'll find out because we need a fire type. We need another good fire type other than Salazzle that's also got that speed, got that power, but also maybe we just have, I don't know, something. We'll figure it out. Sorry about this god-awful pimple on the side of my face and my nose. I'm breaking out, and I know that's gross for you guys. I won't talk about it anymore, but I just wanted to apologize. So basically, I looked back at Banette's battles that I could check, and I mean, honestly, I know his 2 biggest threats are, he has a lot of good power, but also his speed is where I was really worried about him. So I considered running Trick Room. I really did. And I actually set this team up with Trick Room, but opted not to have it last minute. We'll talk about that as we go through our Pokemon. But I knew we had to figure out how to deal with Hawlucha getting its Unburden off and Tapu Lele being bulky as heck. And I kind of expected Weather to come because he knew with my trades and being the commissioner that I still had Sand. And if he didn't bring Sun, I would have unabated Sand. But if he brought Sand and I didn't bring Sand, we'd be screwed. So we knew we had to fight for that, pretty much both of us. So that kind of influenced this team a lot. Starting out this week, that means I brought Gigalith. Breezy Peaks the Gigalith definitely came along strong, and it's going to be great. So we have Breezy Peaks the Gigalith and the Sandstream ability. We're bringing Meteor Beam, Earthquake, Heavy Slam, and Stealth Rock. The reason I'm bringing Meteor Beam is, and I'm running Power Herb as the item, is that Meteor Beam is a 2-turn move that with a Power Herb becomes 1 turn, 1 time, and it gives you a +1 special attack boost, which is great because our special attack sucks, and then hits them with a super high power move. How much is Meteor Beam again? 120 base power stab. So even though our stats suck in special attack, we can do some major damage, and it's the strongest move that we can really get to hit Hawlucha, and it OHKOs Hawlucha. So we are bringing Meteor Beam with Power Herb. Earthquake just does good damage to most things. He doesn't have Hawlucha is a flying type, so we couldn't hit that, but That does good against Torkoal. It did decent damage against Tapu Lele. Venusaur is neutral to it, so if we stayed out, we weren't going to because he could kill us super easy, but if we stayed out, he would be able to do that. Noivern's immune to it, but Durant takes a good hit. You know, there was a good amount of stuff that Earthquake could hit, and it's just a good move to run. We also brought Heavy Slam so that if we ended up out in front of Hawlucha, a Heavy Slam actually would just OHKO, or if it was defensive, it would just be under OHKOing, but a lot of damage on that Hawlucha, which was a big deal for us. And we brought Stealth Rocks in case we got a chance to get it up. So that way we could get some chip damage, because I knew with the Weather Wars this was going to be a heavy switch match, and that Stealth Rocks would be really important for us. He kind of has limited options to deal with it. I think Lele might get Defog, and I know Rotom does, but I think that might be it for his team that gets it, if I remember correctly. So it's not a whole lot of options. And that's why we have this set on Gigalith. Again, Breezy Peaks is going to put in some work for us this week. We have 208 EVs in HP, 48 in special attack to help that Meteor Beam, and 252 in special defense because he is pretty specially bulky with this squad. Venusaur and Lele being primary offense. Hawlucha is physical, but we're pretty regularly physically bulky, and I figured he would not expect me to kill him with a rock type move, so if I could stay in and take a hit early on, we'd be able to get that Meteor Beam off. That was the idea. So next up, bringing the rest of that Sand Core, we are bringing Kazooie's cousin, the Dracozolt, our another brand new electric dragon type on the squad. We're rocking the Sand Rush ability to abuse that sand, and the Choice Scarf this week, so we have like 750 something speed. We are dominating. We're dominating because his Sun Core is going to be Venusaur. Venusaur is not going to run a Choice Scarf. That would be stupid. That would be stupid. It's going to run a Life Orb or a Band. Or, sorry, a Life Orb or Specs or something. But yeah, that'd be silly. So we brought the Choice Scarf specifically so we could outspeed a lot of the rest of his team without, I believe we outsped Scarf Hawlucha before Unburden is how that worked out when I was doing calcs. So we brought Scarf so we'd be careful with that, and honestly just dominating elsewhere. Especially because we are bringing Bolt Beak. That's an 85 power, 100 base accuracy move, electric type stab, and if we go first, it gets a 1.5 power boost. I believe it's 1.5, right? Power doubles. It's a 2 power boost plus 1.5 for stab. So 85 times 1.5 times 2. If we move first, this is a 255 power base move. That's insane. And it does pretty good against most of his team. Pretty much everything doesn't want to take a Bolt Beak from us. Lele was almost, I can't remember exactly, but either very close to dead or dead. Hawlucha was dead. Torkoal lived, but it still did a bunch of damage. Darmanitan dead. Venusaur dead. Rotom Wash dead. Noivern gone. I didn't see him bringing Sandaconda. That's his only ground type that was going to be able to resist it, so, or be immune to it. So that's kind of what I was thinking there. And beyond that, we brought Earthquake, so we have a little bit of extra damage off against that Torkoal if we got stuck out there outside of sand or something. Fire Fang came because Fire Fang was doing some good damage to Venusaur if we got outsped in the sun. We could live a hit, and Fire Fang was doing 55 to 60, I believe. A lot of damage. And then we have Dragon Tail here. This was one of my strats this week. We brought Dragon Tail so that we could hit a boosted Lele or a boosted Hawlucha. I mean, a boosted Lele is going to kill us with a fairy type move, unless it's specs and locked into like Psychic or something. But Dragon Tail is a negative priority move, and it also forces the target to switch. It's base power 60, 90 accuracy, but it's stab, so it's actually a 90 base power move. So it's pretty decently strong. It's physical, and it forces switching. So, you know, you can only get that Unburden boost once, and this is a good way to knock it out. Force speed control, basically. Force speed control. So that is Kazooie's cousin. And with the Scarf, obviously, we do basically if I expect the switch in, right? Like if Lele's out and I get this in, if I can switch in on Lele, he's probably switching out to Hawlucha if it hasn't already had Unburden. So we get the free switch, and then we can Dragon Tail after taking one hit. Or if his Lele's kind of hurt, he's figured out I'm scarfed, and then he's going for the Hawlucha, he's probably going to go for the switch rather than risk losing the Lele. And then we can predict with a Dragon Tail and knock out the Hawlucha before it gets a chance to attack with its boost. Well, knock it out of the ring, not out of the battle. But that's kind of the idea. We're going to max attack, max speed, super fast this week. We're down in special attack. We have no special attacks. Our special defense is 4 points because just helping out. And that's Kazooie's cousin. And that's basically That's kind of my speed control, my sun control that I'm looking at there. Beyond that, I wanted to bring some answers to some good things, but also we brought a regenerator core. So Tangelo the Tangrowth is coming back this week with the Rocky helmet and the regenerator ability. Super standard Tangrowth set. We got Giga Drain, Poison Jab, Knockoff, and Focus Blast. Focus Blast is just a coverage move in case something like Durant, or who else doesn't want to take a fighting type? I think there's someone else. I mean, Torkoal doesn't love it. But honestly, just a special type fighting move, getting it on there, getting some coverage, because I didn't have another need for something. I didn't want to try to Leech Seed. I don't think I can Leech Seed in Misty Terrain, or I wasn't sure if I could, so I didn't want to do that because I knew Mystery Terrain was going to be up a lot with Lele and one of our other picks. Spoiler alert. So I basically didn't want to bring it. Knockoff is here just to get some great chip and some items off. Getting Knockoff off of Lele is amazing. It really reduces its damage output towards us. Poison Jab is a good way to hit Lele if for some reason it doesn't have an item, or we just want to get some damage if we don't think the item is going to be worth it. I don't know, something like that. And Poison Jab's it's a good move in general. It hits really well. It has a chance to poison, which is nice. You have Giga Drain for the recovery, the Stab 75 power recovery. I mean, you just got to take it. And then, of course, Regenerator gives us a third of our health back when we switch out and come back in. So just a good way to get some recovery there, because we still don't have, even after these trades, a Cleric on this team. That's kind of one of the other things I want to pick up. If I can figure out how to fix our not wanting 3 Dragon types, but also wanting Fire and also wanting a Cleric at the same time, it's definitely something to look into. But we got a 252 HP to make our Regenerator go even farther. We are bulking up physically this week, heavily leaning into the physical, which is why we don't live as many hits from things like Lele, but it's a good check to Hawlucha. The flying type moves do a lot of damage, but our defense is just so high. And we can, I don't know. It was an idea. I mean, I probably should have gone a little more specially defensive, but that's what it is. Rocky Helmet obviously doing some good damage to anything that hits us physically. If we do stay out against the Hawlucha, that's that. Next up, the second part of our Regenerator core, we are bringing Public Practice, the Slow King, back this week. Water Psychic type with the leftovers this time. Again, getting that health. We are maxed out in HP with EVs and maxed out in defense because our special defense is already pretty good. We're down in speed, up defense. Pretty decent things. Obviously, Regenerator, I said Regenerator core, so another way to get 33% health back. This was going to be our Trick Room setter. It was the first mon I picked because I picked it before I did the trades. And it was going to be our Trick Room setter. And ultimately, I decided that he has some relatively slow mons on his team. Like they do okay, right? Like Venusaur, if you decide not to bring Sun, isn't super fast. Torkoal's obviously really good in Trick Room. Just stuff like that. Stuff can really body. I think Durant might be able to be kind of slow. Kangaskhan, I think, can be kind of slow. I was just not really excited about it. And I want to say Mega Mawile is kind of slow as well. So that was my idea there. And but outside of that, I was bringing Shadow Ball for some Ghost type coverage. Psychic for the Stab Psychic. Obviously, that does a ton to Hawlucha. Very helpful. If we can get out there, we resist its fighting type moves, and we can get a Psychic off. Obviously, we have to take a hit because we're slow, but that's always nice. And then we have Slack off, so if we're not ready to switch out or we get in a stall game or something, we can get 50% of our HP back while staying in. Hawlucha can't do that much damage to us, so unless it's Swords Dance Hawlucha, and we trade a Slack off for a Swords Dance, we're going to see if we can get something done with that. And then lastly, I changed Trick Room to Trick. I did that so that I could put lefties on Lele. That is 100% my thought. Lele Psychic Specs doesn't do that much. It does like a third, so we can either get it back with a switch or we can slack off. And I wanted to put lefties on it, and then we have specs, and we can hit back with a Psychic that I think did about 50. So that was my idea there. Obviously, we'd have to get... If we were successful, we will have to pull back out. And we will pull back out, get most of our health back, go near full, let something take a hit now that Lele's not specs, and then maybe we can come back in, hit it with a Psychic if we, it's just a good, obviously Psychic from them's doing even less to us without the specs, you get the idea. So that's Public Practice, and next up we will go over to our secondary water type, our Water Fairy type in Better Prima, the Tapu Fini. And Better Prima this week actually ran the Expert Belt. I went back to my old ways of the Expert Belt because I wanted to keep some stuff nice and flexible, but I also wanted to do a little extra damage. And I figure if I'm attacking with Fini this week, it's going to be a super effective move. So I can save some HP, I can save some flexibility this way. That's what I did. We're running Misty Surge as the ability. It doesn't really do anything for me, except I can maybe force Hawlucha to pop its Unburden if it doesn't want to, which is nice. But that's that. I really didn't think telepathy was going to do anything because we're not double battling. Telepathy does nothing. So Misty Surge. The moves this week are going to be Moonblast, Light Screen, Surf, and Knockoff. That's because a lot of the mons I'm scared of on this team are hitting me with special type moves like Tapu Lele and Venusaur. Those are the ones I'm expecting to be the big damage outputters. They're special. Exactly. So we have Light Screen on here to do some good stuff. We live a couple hits from pretty much everything on this except for Venusaur. If Venusaur gets a good boost off before we get a Reflect. Sorry, a Light Screen. Knockoff on Lele, same idea. Knock off Lele's item instead of tricking Lele's item, just depending on what gets out in front of it first. And then Surf just for that water type move because we don't have a water type move on public practice. I wanted that somewhere, stab water to do some damage. We wanted to eat some extra hits, so in addition to our normal defensive and special defensive bulk, that is, I put 200 EVs in defense. I put 56 in special attack just to give Surf a little extra boost up there. Moonblast a little extra boost up there in case that I want to say the Durant came, but Durant's not the one. What's it called? Noivern comes. And we put 252 EVs in attack, and honestly, that's kind of a leftover because I originally put a Life Orb on this to boost its damage without having to put EVs in damage, and then just forgot to change it. So we just gave it a lot of extra HP for a lot more general bulk. That's better Prima, the Tapu Fini. And lastly, this week, we're also bringing Halo, the Vikavolt. First week it's coming out. It's been on the team the whole time, but it's here. Halo's coming because it's got... again, it was a Trick Room Mon. It admittedly was a Trick Room Mon. And honestly, Tangrowth Public Practice and Tangelo Public Practice and Halo were all going to be good in Trick Room if he brought Trick Room. Knowing that... just knowing that we have ways to speed up our teams, we have ways to slow down our teams, we have medium speed teams. In case he brought Trick Room himself, like maybe I could bait a counter Trick Room, make him think I'm going to trick, but I don't actually Trick Room, and then we get some advantage there. So it's a relatively slower mon. We are speed crept to outspeed. Oh, I forgot he's made this trade that's not effective for our battle, but he had a Rhyperior for something. I don't know where it went. I don't know what he traded for it. I think it might have been Sandaconda, actually. But he had a Rhyperior when I was prepping for this, and he'll have it in the battle. I'm expecting him to bring it to the battle. So I wanted to bring Energy Ball, and we're speed crept to outspeed max speed Rhyperior. So we have Life Orb, we have Levitate, we're immune to the ground type move, which is great. The rock type's threatening, but we're immune to the ground type move. We have the Life Orb. If he adds some special defense, he might live an Energy Ball, but Energy Ball has a good chance to Oko. We bought Roost, so we actually have Giga Drain, Regenerator. We have Slack Off Regenerator and Roost to just get a ton of healing on our squad this week. And we also brought Bug Buzz and Volt Switch, so we have the pivot, we have the stab bug for Lele, and it's good for that. Bug Buzz is good against Lele. That's what I just said. Volt Switch does some good damage to some things, and Energy Ball does some good damage to some things. It's just a general cleaner and a good counter Trick Room. It kind of keeps him from wanting to set Trick Room. So we're going to switch around, try to keep our health up, try to get some rocks up to whittle him down, kind of deny his Unburden and continually try to deny his Sun. And if we have sand, great, but I have the Scarf, so we don't have to have the sand. I have the sand mostly to fight the sun. That's the idea. So we're going to see how this goes. We're going to try to pick up a W. We can win every match from here on in the season. We will match our last season record and maybe be able to make playoffs still if we want to. We're going to see what we can do. Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Make sure you guys subscribe if you're new. We have 2 draft leagues going on right now and the 25 streams of Christmas every single day. Most of the weekdays you'll find that about 7 p.m., but I don't know about the weekends yet. And I'll catch you guys back here next week. Peace.